The brain wakes up each day, perceives a reality of material makeup, and says, daily, to itself, this is it, this is reality. The lens of understanding narrows to visual perception, and the scope of interaction narrows to this boundary. When we look around our house or outside the yard of the house, the streets, the brain perceives a three-dimensional world. A big space, longitudinal shapes. This is a trick. The depth of distance is a trick to our mind. And though the three-dimensional geography is true and exists, it exists itself in a marvelous cosmos of states. It is a reflection from some creative layer of expression. It is of something else. And this something else weave the material world with its apparent long spaces from a very narrow layer. This layer is so thin, it is like a thin sheath in space. Therefore the material world by this confinement is itself more extremely thin, like a side of a piece of paper. It is only that we see the front of the paper and it looks large, and it looks like the whole thing. If reality is subject in this way, it can be changed. The brain tricks itself, or is tricked by the faces of humans. When we look at another human we trade with the face of the creature. I say trade because we act as though that is the creature. We trade with the biology, not the true person. Our brain says, this is it, this is the human I interact with and all they are expressed there in this face. They are organic. Now the creature we are interacting with, having the same pathology of perception as us, assumes the same. The human contains other aspects. Consciousness, the soul, the spirit, other bodies. There is a self, as it were, that forms from the mind of the organic brain, and this self wobbles and vibrates in cosmic dimensions, not mentioning the soul, which is a self, which is in many places even when the body is on earth. Aspects of the soul are in dimensional pockets, and some of our soul aspects are found even now in underworlds where we live and move about, but the brain does not know it. We can even touch hell, or hellscapes themselves. There are people out there who, in the delusion of confidence and the boldness of ignorance, take chemicals like DMT to access the spiritual worlds. When they take the chemicals they are immediately there and interact with the beings, and when the chemical wears out, and they return to the confines of default perception of reality, they say to themselves, the gates are closed, I am no longer there. But this must be an assumption. Who says they are not still there? The brain and mouth, eager to not feel pain, gleefully elates in success in the material world, taking a moment of safety as the fulfillment of all things and the end of dimensional destinies. The mouth inside us has or is a cosmic gate of some sorts. It has access to the fires of the underworlds, pulling things up from there, for instance as it is written, describing the gate and the truer geography of being, in the book of James, and among all the parts of the body, the tongue is a flame of fire. It is a whole world of wickedness, corrupting your entire body. It can set your whole life on fire, for it is set on fire by hell itself. So it can pull fire, and can connect to another geography. And the brain says to itself now, if I can't see the fire then it is not fire. In the meantime let us be careful with pain, and what we do with pain. Because the receiving of pain and the keeping of pain in childhood plants a seed in the mind of the brain, and this seed forms a tree. There can be a tree of pain inside us. As the self of the mind is a slave to assumptions, it assumes that pain is securely confined to an unpleasant feeling, but pain, when forming a tree, may live in the merit of innocence and injustice, but it has a deadly purpose. It wants to extinguish itself, and in time it will extinguish the whole being to that end. The tree of pain when it starts to grow will collect painful templates, memories, anything, even things that don't belong to us. If we see an animal being abused on the television, we collect it and graft it into the tree of pain, and there it will produce its fruit. We must give away our pain to the only one who can take it. We give our pain to the Lord of Truth.